Morning everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday morning. I just finished eating my breakfast, as you saw, which was spinach, mushroom, egg, and some roasted shredded chicken with a piece of avocado toast. It was very good, very balanced. And I had that after I did a little bit of morning yoga. I like to do that every morning when I wake up. But today's video is gonna be a few days of my life of just showing you guys some of the things that I do to build myself back up and get myself back into routine. A lot of you guys know that I have been dealing with the loss of my mother throughout the holidays. So life has been very difficult, to say the least. And so obviously I haven't really been on too much of a routine. Like, my routine has really just been grief and grieving. And although I still very much so am, and if you want a few episodes on me talking about that, I will link them down below on my podcast channel. And I'm saying that because I feel like there is actually a lot of you that have messaged me and told me that you've recently lost somebody, or you're asking for advice, or you kind of want to know maybe just what I've been up to in terms of my mental health. So I have a few episodes that could help you. But as the days go on, and oh my gosh, the sun is beaming, but am I going to be mad about it? No, because the sun gives me 10 times more life. Like, when the sun is out, I feel like I have no problem taking on the day. But anyways, lately I've been really trying my best to focus on picking up my mood in the morning, and that usually is like a journal practice or just trying to get a little bit of movement in. But since I've gotten my morning routine pretty much down pat and it feels really good to me, there is one thing that I want to do this week, and that is to finally get back in the gym. Now, if you guys have not been here with me for a while, then you might not know, but I was dealing with a really bad IBD flare-up. I have IBD. Honestly, like when the fall started, it started slowly like flaring up, and then it got really, really bad. I had to get on medication, this, that. And my symptoms are not 100%, but they're a lot better. But with that said, I was not able to go to the gym. I was not able to really get out of my bed and socialize. There was so many things that I was like bedridden in for the past few months. And then I lost my mom, and it's just like, listen, 2024 was not my year at all. But I'm slowly building myself back up, and I really want to just get back into the gym. Now, when you take a long time off of the gym, you can't go back 100% and push yourself like crazy. It just ain't gonna happen, because you're literally gonna get sore if you do that. But I just want to get myself in the idea of being back in the gym realm and like listening to music and like getting into that mindset. So that's basically my biggest goal for today. But after I eat, I do like to go on a walk. So we're gonna go do that. It's probably gonna be really cold, but that's fine. It's the winter time. I need to get some sort of sun if it's gonna come out. Even if it doesn't, I still like to go out and walk, especially after I eat. I feel too full to like go to the gym. And so we're gonna do that. I'm probably gonna listen to a podcast episode. I really like Manifestation Babe. I feel like there's some people who just really do understand the manifestation process and understand that it really is such a spiritual healing journey. And I feel like Catherine really understands that, along with To Be Magnetic. Those are like my two favorite money manifestation podcasts when it comes to your mindset. So I might listen to one of those, because there's something about money right now that I'm interested in listening to. Like I go through phases of different types of topics when it comes to like self-development, and I'm kind of like in the realm of like diving more deep into money, which I feel like is pretty common with like any theme in your life. Like you're gonna kind of go into these cycles, right? Whether you're like coming up against a core wound of yours, or a self-sabotaging habit, or you're going back into a thinking process that maybe doesn't serve you and you like want to uncover it a little bit more. Even when it comes to money, I feel like the more you become successful, sometimes there's walls that you will hit or beliefs that you will come against that you need to kind of unpack a little bit more, or re-educate yourself on, or think about things in a new way so that you can manifest more, or think about money in a different way and things like that. So anyways, that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna get our jackets on and head outside. Also, actually, before I go, I'm gonna take my vitamin D. So I have two. So I take a few drops of vitamin D, like just like the liquid form, and then one that is mixed with K2, which is said to help the D basically absorb better in your body, along with, of course, having it with healthy fats, which is great because I just had avocado. So I'm gonna have two of these. Okay, our walk is done, and that was 10 times colder than I thought it was gonna be, to be honest. I didn't really like, I assume it's always gonna be cold because it's in the midst of January, but I forgot that this week was apparently supposed to be one of the coldest weeks out of the winter here in Toronto. And I definitely felt that, but you know what? We keep pushing through. I feel like when I do my morning walks, especially in the wintertime, it kind of gives me the same feeling as what you feel after you do a hard workout, because some of those walks, when it's minus 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, feeling like minus 20, that really builds character. Also, I ended up just listening to some music, which I do need to get back on my playlist, because if I'm gonna be going back to the gym, I need a good freaking playlist. Now, if you guys want any of my playlists, because I do have good playlists, but I just need a little bit of a revamp. Like I need some new music, you know? Like I need a new Jack Harlow album. We're waiting for Tate. I need some more rap. Rap is what I listen to the most when I'm going to the gym. Right now, my favorite rap song probably is Stuff by Lil Baby and Travis Scott. Central C is coming out with an album soon as well. I like to listen to him when I'm at the gym. But let me know in the comments if you guys are listening to any good rap song, because I will search them up and I will potentially add them to my playlist. But my playlist will be linked in the description. They're all on Spotify. Anyways, I'm going to make my coffee now and do my journaling, journaling is something that I basically do every single morning. I think it just really gets my mood on the best track, especially going through such deep, hard things the past few months. But in general, I just think that I look forward to journaling. And when I'm journaling, I'm either writing out what I'm feeling, if I'm feeling any hard emotions, or if I'm feeling happy, if I'm feeling grateful, if I'm feeling inspired. I tend to write a lot of like my manifestations out and just like really bring my focus back to what I know to be true about life and myself, but also what I want to continue to work towards in the future. Because I think you just sometimes can forget. And for me, when I think about my dream life, like the next version of me and the next version of this and that, it just makes me feel so excited about life. Now, I think something to note, to be careful with, and I'm very aware of this, is not just living in your head and in your like dream life that you're imagining. Like I do a really good job at enjoying the present moment here and now and being grateful for the things that I do have now and just like enjoying it and not just living for the future. So you just want to be careful with that, because I feel like when I first started doing this stuff, like when I was literally 16 years old, I only lived for the future and like only lived in my head and like only lived for the dream board. And that created a lot of just unhappiness in my present moment. And it made it almost impossible for me to actually work towards my dream life because I just didn't want to be here and now. And in order for you to get to your dream life, you need to do things in your present moment right now and take action right now and be that person basically right now in order to then have that manifest and then have all these things. So just always be mindful of that. Like you can have your journal practice, you can have your like dream, this, that. Like I'm a dreamer. I love vision boards. I love all these things. But after you do that stuff, it's like, okay, so what action can I take today that the version of me that I'm dreaming about would be taking already, like right now? And that's usually going to the gym that day. That's usually getting on your laptop and working on your side hustle, or it's going to work, or it's picking up a shift, or it's putting money into this thing so you can pay off this thing, or it's having that hard conversation with somebody, or it's getting up for 10 minutes and cleaning your space, or reorganizing your place, or coming up with a plan of what you're going to be doing in the next 6 months. Manifestation and like your dream life and everything, like there's always going to be a component of action. And quite frankly, you should really always prioritize that over everything. Like sometimes I will definitely find myself being in my lazy phase of like a few days of like not taking a lot of action, but like dreaming about things and then going on Pinterest and journaling and this, that. And those times are always needed. I find that I do that a lot when I'm on my period as well, to slow things down. But I do like to remind myself that if I'm in my head about anything, the best thing that I can do is just take any form of action, even if it's like not perfect. If it's like a walk outside, it's better than me like sitting around and like thinking and ruminating and even planning. Like sometimes we do way too much planning. Like you don't need to be sitting and planning your life out every day or even like weekly, like sitting there for hours, like planning out every single aspect of your health, your fitness, your work schedule, your friendships, your love life. We don't need to like do that. Anyways, that's a rant. And also I do like to light some incense and like have a little bit of a vibe and like really just make this time a time to connect to myself. And I think that if you can do that for yourself, even in the morning, like 10 minutes out of your day, it will center and ground you, and you won't be so swept up in your natural chaotic thoughts that can happen sometimes during the day, but also just the chaos of life. You know, when you get on your phone or you start listening to your friends talk about this or that, like if you can center yourself for like 10 minutes in the morning, it will change a lot for you. And of course, that is gonna really dictate a lot of your actions moving forward. And I guess actually the last thing I'll say about like morning routines is like, make it work for you. If you dread your morning routine, if you don't enjoy it, are you really gonna continue to do it? No. In the mornings, I have found that telling myself to wake up at like 6 a.m. and do a hard weightlifting workout doesn't work for me. And will that work maybe like, I don't know, a few years down the line? Maybe, I don't know. But that's not really the vibe right now. So I like to curate my morning routine in a way that works for me. And everyone's gonna be different because you have a different schedule. You might have to wake up early. Like you might have to do certain things. There's things that I still have to do, but I just do my best to make it as enjoyable as I possibly can. Because the more joy you have in your life, you will do more. And you can find enjoyment in the things that you quote unquote look at as like things that just have to be done because they're like discipline and like whatever, like working out or eating healthy or this, that. Like you can find joy in certain things. You just have to figure out what works for you. Anyways, it is now snowing as I'm seeing outside. So I'm glad that I went on this walk. Let's go make the coffee like I said 100 times. Hello everyone, we are back from the gym and I just got out of the shower and I just washed my face with this You To The People papaya and vitamin C cleanser. I really love it and it smells really good. I figured I would quickly just like talk about fitness goals and getting back into like a workout routine. First thing I like to put on my skin is a hyaluronic acid. This is the one that I'm using by La Roche-Posay. I think that's how you say it. You guys know. I never really know how to pronounce things. So at the gym, I just did a very simple bodyweight workout. Well, first I went on the treadmill for like 10 minutes just to like warm up my body, and I love to do that. And then I did some squats, some reverse lunges. I did bird dog, which was like the arm and the leg out and then in. Really good for your balance, but also great for your core. Like honestly, even full body, like your arms, your legs, things like that. And I also did some assisted push-ups. And I just did a bunch of rounds of those and that was basically it. And then I just stretched at the end. But gosh, does it feel so good to just get back in the gym. Like it's a whole new identity that you have to put on when you are in your like weightlifting era, and God, do I miss it. Now it's gonna take a little bit for me to incorporate dumbbells and go to the bar again and do squats and deadlifts and things like that. But even doing something as small as just getting my ass into the gym makes me feel so accomplished. And I feel like I used to not be like this. Like when I was younger, if for whatever reason I had days or weeks or months where I wasn't able to go to the gym, like if I had a health issue or I was out of routine or whatever the case was, I would have this start on Monday mentality and I would try and jump back into what I was doing pre-stopping the gym, and I would just exhaust myself at the gym. I would be so sore, and honestly I would not really look forward to it because I feel like for the most part when you stop moving regularly, or like let's say weightlifting, it feels quite hard. Like it kind of feels a little bit daunting, and I could not imagine myself like telling myself today that I was gonna go back into my gym routine and start doing deadlifts and squats and things like that. And again, being a former personal trainer, you absolutely need to be careful with weight training and adding load onto your body when you're starting out. Like body weight for like a week or two, and then once you get those movements down pat and you're making sure you're doing your mobility and things, you can add a little bit of weight. But again, when you're starting with weight, you want to do it very, very light until you're strong enough to move up, obviously. So anyways, I would say come February, moving into March, you're gonna see a lot more weightlifting, which I am so excited about. And there was a photo that I took in the summertime and my legs looked amazing. They looked so muscular and fit, and just, I was like in my prime in the summertime because I had really consistently weightlifted. And mind you, this is only like 2 to 3 times out of the week. Like I don't go crazy with workouts like when I'm in that era. But I gained such a great amount of muscle throughout the past year, moving into like the end of summer before I stopped, and then I got my flare up, which I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of muscle, but also fat as well. But I looked so good, and my legs are really tiny right now. And this is not about like shaming my body at all. By the way, I'm going in with this Superfood Skin Drop Serum by Youth to People. I'm obsessed with it. It is so good, and it makes your skin glow. Like I did not open this very long ago and it's already like halfway done. Anyways, my body is definitely pretty fragile right now. It's very small, which is again not a big deal. I feel like as I get older, I understand that there's just going to be phases of your life where you're bigger or you're smaller or you have more muscle or not, and obviously the goal is to kind of maintain. And for the most part, I have, even during the flare up. Like I feel like because I had so much muscle in the summertime, my body now doesn't look as frail as it did previously when I had flare ups before, because of how well I was taking care of my body. But obviously I did lose muscle and stuff like that, but I was trying to eat as good as I could and like get protein in and stuff and just do the best that I could. Anyways, I can't wait to get back to not even like what my body looks like, because I'm not really doing it like for aesthetics. And mind you, yes, do I like looking good? Yes. Do I like when my body's looking fit? Yes. Do I like when a good outfit looks like nice and snatched on me? Yes. Will I be hot girl summering it up? Yes. But when I'm moving my body and I have muscle in my body, I'm happy about that because of how it makes me feel. Like I just feel strong. Whether I'm wearing a great outfit or I'm wearing everything baggy, I would much rather have muscle on my body and just know that I'm in the gym, moving my body and being strong and having mobility and flexibility and all those things. And realistically, when you care about your fitness routine from that aspect, you know, the mental health component and you getting in routine and you building muscle because it's good for longevity. And as you get older, you start to lose muscle and you really want to maintain that muscle. But also that helps with your hormones, it helps with your mood, everything outside of just what your body looks like. When you care more about that, you tend to start to look at fitness and health not from this like, what can it change for my body, but more of this thing that you just do mainly consistently throughout your life, because that's just what we need as human beings. The same way we need to drink water every day, the same way we need to eat every day. Like that's how I really look at movement. It's like a non-negotiable. We have to do it. And different seasons of your life, you will be maybe weightlifting or you're doing Pilates or you're doing walks, whatever. But at the end of the day, in my head, I'm thinking like, we always need to be moving. Anyways, I'm going in with this Major Fade Serum by Dr. Idris. I believe that's how you say her name. I honestly do not like the application. Is that what it's called? But it is a good product, so I'm going to use it, and it has vitamin C in it. I actually just got a facial yesterday. It was like more of just like a natural hydration facial with a massage. I went to this place called Etiquette at the Well in Toronto. If you live in Toronto, go to that place. It is so good. And I've gotten it twice now, and it's just so relaxing and so nice. Also, I use ClassPass to get my facials, which if you've never tried ClassPass, I do have 20 free credits, which the link will be down below. I think it's just a great way and a more affordable way to book some of your facials or your massages and of course your workout classes if you don't belong to a studio. So my goal is every month to get at least one facial, and I also got another one, which my next facial will be this, which is the hydrofacial, and that was the first time I ever got that, and it really did change my skin in terms of how it felt. Like, I get congestion around like my T-zone area, and I would say my skin is pretty much normal leading into the oily side, so I'll get some blackheads and just congestion up here. So she really just like cleared everything out, but I could just feel how clean my skin felt after that hydrofacial. So I want to do that once a month. So the next one I'll be doing that, and I think like slowly, like February is almost here, which, guys, listen, you guys know I'm all about embracing winter and just having a positive winter mindset, you guys know. But let's just, you know, call a spade a spade. Winter's tough, and winter's been very tough for me. You know, I already struggle a lot with seasonal depression, and I have to fight the forces. I have to fight every year, and every year I feel like I do better with beating seasonal depression because I just find what works for me, and I take things off of my plate, and I just get more aligned in my life, and I just really try and stay in the present. But obviously this winter has been the worst time ever, like especially grieving. Like, the worst time to grieve I feel like would be in winter. Like, it's already shit. It's already like not good. So anyways, I am excited to know that February is coming because February goes by quickly, and then we got March and then spring, and I just know that spring is gonna feel extra good to me and probably to a lot of you, as it usually always does, but also just getting into some of the things that I haven't been able to do, like really consistently working out again, and even socializing and just having a fuller life. And now I don't have to wait till spring to do that, and I'm not going to. It's just naturally how my life has worked out. Like, my flare-up is finally like coming to a rest, and I have been grieving, but you know, slowly I'm building my life back up. And so I'm kind of excited to see like where February and March will take all of us, because I feel like it will kind of be our glow up periods, which I feel like that's when the glow ups should start anyways. Like, I don't really like to look at January as this like big like glow up, we gotta get productive, things like that. Like, I really like to ease into the year regardless of what I'm going through. So anyways, I'm gonna stop ranting now. Skincare is done. Today is actually a pretty chill day, and I did make it that way because I try not to put too much on my plate if I can help it on Mondays, because I feel like, especially in the winter time, I'm less productive and like less motivated to do things, and so I will like get Sunday scaries, even though like, yes, I work for myself, but I still will feel that, because I basically look at my weeks Monday to Friday as like work weeks, along with also working on the weekends, to be honest. But realistically, I don't have much to do for work because I'm still waiting for approvals for some content that I need to edit, and also waiting for like a few products and briefs to come in for some brand deals. So there's nothing I can really like film or work on or do for that. Also, I don't need to come out with a podcast episode anytime soon. Like, I have my episodes going live on Sunday, unless I'm really motivated and inspired to record something to put out. But like right now, I don't really have anything, but I am brewing some ideas. So I'm just going to let myself chill, because I know by the rest of this week I'm gonna have to ramp up and do some things. I'm also getting my period at the end of this week, so I'm okay to allow myself to rest because I'm in my luteal phase. So I think what I'm gonna do now actually is read a little bit of my book, because I've really been into reading lately, especially a lot of spiritual books, because I feel like it's really helped me with my grieving process. Like, I just don't know what I would do without connecting to something that's bigger than myself, you know? So let's go do that. First, I'm going to take a few more supplements. So I'm going to take some vitamin C. You can't ever really go wrong with taking some vitamin C. But I do feel, not under the weather, but you know, when your body kind of feels like, I could get sick right now. That's kind of the vibe. So I'm just going to take some of this. And then also I'm going to take some of my Boswellia. This is basically a natural anti-inflammatory supplement. So given the fact that I have had a lot of inflammation in my body because of my flare-up, this is something that has been recommended to me by a naturopath for many years. So I just try and take this. So I'm gonna take these two and drink a lot of water. Now, typically I'll usually eat a meal after I work out, but because that workout was very like small and like didn't do anything crazy in terms of ramping up my metabolism, I'm not gonna eat anything. Like, I'm still quite full, but over the months I will for sure start to eat more, which I'm actually excited about because I like eating. Okay, so I just started this book last night. I love Marianne Williamson. The way that she views life spiritually is basically the way that I look at life, okay? So anyways, I have not read this book, but I've watched a lot of her podcasts. I have another one of her books. It's called The Divine Compensation, I believe, and it's really good. But I did want to read this, and there's another one, something about Jesus, basically her take on what it means to like believe in God and Jesus and things like that. And partly this book kind of goes into it as well. And I have not gotten through a lot of it, but she really talks about this core principle of doing things out of love versus fear, and how, you know, we are so programmed to do a lot of things based out of fear and where that really leads us in life. And when we lead with love and we act out of love, like how amazing life becomes. She connects that back to kind of this divine or God or Jesus or whatever you want to believe in, and how that is the core of what God is really. God is love, and we are a part of him, or however you want to look at it, part of spirit or source. And when we act out of that, good things happen. We feel better. I always feel better when I'm leading with love, and I allow myself to accept love as well in my life. And I think this really connects to my mom too as well. Like, you know, I have talked a lot about in my podcast episodes, she unconditionally loved me, and I feel like that has gotten me a long way. And although she struggled with her addictions and she struggled with certain things in her life, and I had to grieve a lot even while she was alive of things I wasn't going to get from her, one thing remained, which was this unconditional love. And I just see how that takes you as a person a long way, and how that's taken me a long way when it comes to the love that I have towards myself and other people as well. It's allowed me also to be able to grieve in a beautiful way as well, because there's also a lot of love that I hold towards her, also with myself and the world, because I look at a lot of things through this lens. Although I'm not perfect, although I've had to work on it, that's kind of why I like this idea of like returning to love. Now, this book really surprised me. I was looking for a book that would help me understand death or make me feel better about death, because I believe that I understand at a pretty deep spiritual level why people leave. And I know some people who leave this earth leave in a way that you really can't understand, or it's hard to come to terms with. Like, I'm not saying like I just fully understand and it's so logical and whatever. And just because I understand maybe why one soul leaves, like my mother, I can kind of understand why it was probably her time to leave. It doesn't mean that it still doesn't hurt. Like, it completely hurts. I still have to deal with the loss of her and things like that. But there is this deep understanding and knowing that she is at peace, and she was struggling a lot. So anyways, like, I feel like I've really looked at life in that lens, and I've learned that throughout my years of being in my 20s. Also losing my father, I feel like when I was 16, this is kind of when I started to turn on my spirituality in that way. Like, I kind of started to look at the world and life and death like that. But this grieving process was really challenging for me, obviously, and it still is with my mom, because we just have such a different connection that I needed something to kind of help me like remember what I know to be true, or at least what I believe to be true about spirituality and what happens after death. Although, of course, no one really knows, right? No one obviously really knows. But I think if we all find our thing that helps us understand life, whether you believe in God or you're religious or you're spiritual or whatever, I think it really helps in times where you're grieving, or in times where you feel confused in life or lost in life. Like, it's really helped me. So anyways, I found this book. I had no idea if I was going to like it or not. And I kind of wanted just to like get a reminder, like I said, of just like what happens when somebody dies, and just making myself feel better about the fact that like my mom is not actually gone. Her spirit is still here, and she's still with me, and she's in utmost total amount of peace and love and harmony you know, love and all that, because that's what makes me feel at ease. It doesn't take away the pain. I still have to grieve, but it really helps me be at peace. And again, like looking at her situation, specifically being an addict, like when you're an addict, like life is very, very challenging. And I know that she is no longer in pain and suffering. She does not have to wake up every day with this deep, dark cloud over her. And the amount of pain that she was in, and like the shame, the guilt, and things like that. And I just know that she, for the most part, she was living for me. Like she never wanted to leave. I know she didn't. And how she left was an accident. But I think that her soul, and when I mean her soul, I don't mean that she decided, but I think a part of her soul knew that it was probably time to go. And I'm saying this because there was many times in her life where she could have left. And quite frankly, and I don't talk about this a lot, but like there was many times where I saw overdoses myself. And if I wasn't there, then she would have been gone. And there was times where it happened when I wasn't there. Same with my father. And so sometimes I think like, okay, well, why now? Like, why did it happen now? And I just think that there's a part of her soul that kind of knew that I would be okay without her. And it's true. Like, I feel like this past year, like I got a lot of communication with her. She was doing a lot better. It's not that she wasn't, but obviously she was still struggling with a lot of things. And so if that's where she was at, right, of, you know, still struggling with things, I think that in her lifetime, the way that she was going to be at peace was to be home with God. And I'm at a point in my life where it's not like I don't need her. It's not like I don't need a mother or a father of all these things. It's insanely difficult. I know that if there was going to be any time that I'd be prepared for it, it would probably be around this time. It doesn't mean that I'm actually ready. There's no actual real time that I was ready for this. I didn't know this was going to happen. So I hope you understand what I mean by that. I don't really know how much I want to really share about my thoughts about that, because I just don't want people to think that I'm just like logically like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, it's not fucking fine. It's literally not. And if you've ever lost anyone, then you know there's so many components. But one of them is spirituality. I would recommend this book if you are somebody who is deeply spiritual. This is actually not about religion. It's not. But deeply spiritual, and you kind of understand that there is a life after death, and that there's almost like a reason why people come down to this earth, and everyone has a certain life path and something that they leave with people here on earth. But I will say, this book is not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be for people who are just recently grieving a loss where they do not understand. Like, if you're in a position in your life where you're like, I don't get it, I don't understand why, and like, how could life or how could God, da da da. I don't know. And I'm trying not to also say this book isn't for you, but I feel like you might get triggered. So I don't know, do with that information as you will. Also, this book is written kind of like the Abraham Hicks book. So if you're interested in Abraham Hicks, if you're also interested in Neville Goddard and belief work and subconscious work, this goes into that a lot. It's not just about death. And for me, I honestly look at this book kind of like my spiritual Bible now. It is filled with knowledge that I believe resonates with the way I look at the world and the way I understand things. And basically nothing in this book made me be like, oh, I don't really know if that's true type of thing, which is crazy to me. So anyways, I just figured I would suggest this book if anyone is going through a hard time, especially when it comes to losing someone. But rant over, I'm going to read a little bit and then we will convene. Say good morning, but it's not the morning, it is the afternoon, and I had a little bit of a nap after I read, which I figured I would, but it was like a 25-minute power nap. I know it was 25 minutes because of my ultra human ring, because it likes to detect my naps along with my sleep. And if you're interested in the Ultra Human ring. I'm obsessed with this. You guys know I've been wearing it forever, and tracks my cycle, my steps, and my sleep and everything. I do have a discount code down below. But anyways, once I woke up, I decided to start editing this vlog because now I actually have something to work on, which is actually another goal of mine. If I can, this is obviously only dependent on if I have things to edit, but what I used to do like back in the spring and the summertime is to edit a little bit of my vlog like every day leading up until when I needed to post it, which technically I guess I still kind of do because I don't tend to sit down and finish a vlog from start to finish. Like usually I'll just go through all the talking clips and then maybe all the B-roll clips, and then the next day I'll go back in and like add the music and the pop-up and do the intro and then do the thumbnail. But typically I do get things out pretty fast because when I start something, I don't really want to stop until it is done. So sometimes I need to like chill on that. But anyways, I just did a bunch of the clips, which I actually have a lot. And I think that this vlog is just gonna be an entire day instead of days in my life. Like I don't know why I even do this, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna vlog a few days in my life or a week in my life. Like if I actually recorded an entire week in my life, you would have 5 hours of content because I yap so much. Anyways, with that said, I just did basically all of the talking clips and stuff, so I'm at a good point. But I'm going to start making dinner even though it's like 3:30. I've kind of been liking to eat dinner kind of earlier because then I like to have my yogurt bowl and I don't want to be super full right before I go to sleep. Whatever, this is just where my brain is. So we are going to make a ground beef bowl because that's the vibe that I'm in. So let's go make that. Here is our early dinner. Avocado is looking a little bit mashed up, but we have some avocado nonetheless. And what I did was, well, you kind of got to see, but I just sauteed some onions and mushrooms and some spinach all together, and then took it out and cooked my grass-fed ground beef and then just added it back in so that, you know, my ground beef has a little bit of something mixed in. I like to add some greens or like vegetables, even like bell peppers, whatever I really have on hand when I'm making something like ground beef, because I just feel like why not? You can make it stir fry in a way. And then we have some basmati rice. I just put some butter on it. And then we have some avocado. This is like one of my favorite go-to meals. Protein, carbs, you got some healthy fats in there, and it just tastes so good. So I'm gonna eat this and probably do a little bit more work before I wind down, but we will convene when I'm done. Okay, so finished eating and just did a nice clean, which is what I always like to do after dinner so that my place is clean, or at least my kitchen. But I have a plant situation that I knew I was going to come across because they're plants and you need to learn how to take care of them. But I have an issue, okay? So I have this plant. I'm gonna like put it like here. And as you can see, it is leaning all to one side. Like it is, I don't want to say it's dying, but like when I got it, it wasn't leaning like this. And now I posted on my Instagram what you guys think I should do. And there was a lot of things. Like one was like, oh, you probably need to repot. There was another where it could be just like overwatering or underwatering. And honestly, I do think maybe it's not getting enough water, but I do think it is time to repot and get new soil. But it's just like, I just recently got this plant and I didn't think that I would need to repot it. And I didn't think that I was overwatering it because when I was watering it, for the most part, the water came through quite quickly, but then also it still feels very dry. So anyways, I do think I need to get a new pot because realistically, this is just like a plastic one that this came with. I do want to see if I can get something to kind of like hold it up a little bit more. There's like a tie on here that was given to me by this lady. Also, I do actually know what it's called, but I do not know how to say it. But this is what the plant is called. And this is like kind of like a little care thing. It doesn't really tell me that much, to be honest. Like I have to learn. So what I'm actually gonna do is look on the internet, or at least ask ChatGPT, people who have these plants, when this happens, what is the main issue? And my other ones, which you can see if I bring this up a little bit more. This shelf is dedicated to my mom, by the way. I'm not even sure if I've showed you guys this, but as you can see that photo of us there, and I have a lot of her things here. This was actually her plant, which, I mean, I am trying to do my absolute very best to keep that alive, of course. It seems to be thriving, but I do need to learn how to keep my plants. And then I have two ones up there which seem to be fine, although there's a leaf on the top one and a leaf on the bottom one that's a little bit yellow now. So this is the thing. My mom was good at taking care of plants, but I wasn't. Should I have listened to her? Probably. And I can't ask her anymore. So I am gonna figure this out because she would be really not happy with me. Like I really do think with plants, like you actually need to care. And it's not that I don't care, but I just think that I've never really been that much of a plant person. So I've never wanted to put my time and energy into it, but plants need you to care. Like plants need you to care about them and learn about them and all of that. So I'm determined to figure this out because I actually really like plants. Like I like house plants and I want more of them, but like I can't have them dying. And I did a really good job at keeping one plant alive for about a year in my place. And then I think it was just like too much sunlight. And honestly, I didn't care that much other than just like watering it here and there. Like I could have just done better with it. So I feel like I can do it. I just need to take care of this. So anyways, let's just quickly see on ChatGPT what the common issue is with this plant. And it seems to be leaning all to one side. What is the common reason why this plant might be flopping to one side, and how do I fix it? Question mark. Okay, so first it says uneven light exposure, which I did see that be mentioned in this book. I have this book. It's called You Grow Girl. I got it a long time ago at this Pinterest event, and then I never looked at it. And then when I got into plants, I was kind of like, oh, like this is probably the Bible that I do need. And I was looking at it and it did say something about how some plants will lean to one side because they're trying to get the light. So it says monsteras. Is that the way we say it? I don't know. Naturally grow towards light. The light source is on one side, the plant will lean or stretch to one direction. Now, typically I get light coming in from like east, so right behind you guys, all the way to west. So the light would be on this side, but I don't remember it leaning to this side. I think it was the other side, but then also if it's light out, sometimes it'll be light over here. So I don't know, maybe that is a thing. And then it says lack of support. The plant grows large, heavy leaves and the stems may not be strong enough to hold them upright without support. And it says add a moss pole, trellis, or bamboo stake to give the plant something to climb and stabilize itself. Secure the stems gently to the support with plant ties or soft string. I feel like that also needs to be a thing regardless of if I repot this or not. Next thing, underwatering or overwatering, which I feel like is an art. that I need to get better at. And then it also says pot size and root space. It says monsteras are natural climbers, encourage vertical growth to avoid leaning issues in the future. That's very interesting. Okay, so I'm probably just gonna go on Amazon and order something that will help it stay upright. And I think tomorrow I will go grab a new pot and find some soil, which is another thing that I'm like, I don't know where to even get soil, the right one, I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But you know what? My mindset with most things, and I have to remind myself of this, because there are things that I will do for the first time, even at the ripe age of 29. I try and tell myself, even if I don't have the answer, I don't know how to do it, I will be able to figure it out. So if you have to do something for the first time and it's overwhelming and you literally don't know, like that's okay that you don't know, but like don't tell yourself like, oh, I just don't know, and then leave it at that. Like, we don't know how to fix this plant yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I don't know what soil to get, but I'm gonna Google something, or I'm gonna use ChatGPT, or I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna ask somebody. Like, I will figure this out. So anyways, maybe in the next vlog or something, this will be in better shape. If it wasn't absolutely freezing out today and my hair wasn't still like somewhat wet, I would probably like walk around and grab all the things that I need to, but it is genuinely like one of the coldest days, so I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow for the repotting. But I will look on Amazon to see if I can get that stand, because I do think like regardless of what I do, this plant needs to be held up. All right guys, my nightcap is my yogurt bowl. A yogurt bowl hates to see me coming. Okay, so we have some plain Greek yogurt, and I just mix a little bit of maple syrup in it because it comes plain. And then I have some chia seed pudding that I made with some granola and some dark chocolate chips. So as you can see, I have this like container of chia seed pudding. So what I did is I put 1/4 cup of chia seeds in this, and I mixed it with a oat milk. Now this is oat milk for coffee, and it has a lot of sweetener in it, but of course you could just use like regular milk and then add some maple syrup if you want to control the amount of like sugar in it and whatnot, but I didn't really care, and honestly it tastes really good. Like this specifically makes it taste like a dessert, which is perfect because I tend to just have it on top of something like a yogurt bowl, which is already a little bit tangy usually because it's not that sweet, so it just adds a little bit of sweetness. But I feel like if I was just gonna eat this on its own, or like have a little bit of berries on top of it, I mean, I would not eat this entire thing. I maybe wouldn't use all of this because it might be too sweet, but anyways, that's what I used, and it's just a great way to add some fiber in. And I really wanted to make chia seed pudding, and just so many other recipes that I've saved on Pinterest that I want to make and create, but I just figured let me try and make the normal chia seed pudding before I start changing up the recipe. But I definitely want to try something new. Like I said, I added some dark chocolate chips, and this is just the granola that I'm using from Farm Boy right now. Also guys, Poppy sent me their drinks, or at least one of them, and this is the flavor Dog Pop. I am obsessed. And this I think is not new to Canada, but they've only been in Canada maybe for like the past year. I don't know, but obviously with being Canadian, we always get everything late. So I remember when people were talking about Poppy for so long, and it just wasn't readily available. And honestly, like if you just go to any store, you can't find this. Usually it's at like one of those like natural food places with supplements and stuff like that. But anyways, they sent me this and I am addicted. So good. It's, I was gonna say a problem, but not really. So I'll typically have this with a salty meal. I almost want to have it now, but I feel like I should just wait. But I did want to show you guys that this is a 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion. The Dog Pop one tastes like vanilla cherry, and it does not taste like it's healthy or like it only has 5 grams of sugar, like, you know, the ones that are supposed to be like healthy for you, but don't. Now this is my food that I made today. I forgot to mention that I do like to kind of meal prep at least like one thing so I have during the week. I also have this rotisserie chicken, which is what I used for my egg scramble, so I'm gonna have that for a few days. That is the yogurt that I use. I don't know why we're doing a fridge tour, because realistically I need to go through it. But anyways, that's what I'm gonna eat right now. And guys, we have a new episode of Do We Know Them, which is perfect. And it is one of my favorite topics. And the topic is Ash Trevino. Please comment down below right now if you have been following the Ash Trevino saga / lore, because I am locked in, tuned in, tapped in, locked in, okay? This girl is a train wreck. It's insane. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch. This is the third video actually that they've made on her, but the other two from Do We Know Them gives you a breakdown. Like, Ash Trevino is actually mentally ill. Like, she clearly is not okay, so it's not a joke, but it also like is because of just how crazy she is and the things she does on TikTok lives and stuff like that. And they do a deep dive of, you know, how bad of a mother she is and like all of these things that are actually really important. So it is good to like watch the ones that they've done, but in general they also just talk about some of the crazy, just not problematic, but just insanely crazy things that she does as like a 30-something-year-old on TikTok. It just, I can't look away. So I'm excited to watch this, and I'm going to clean all this up, put this away, and then eat my yogurt bowl. Hello from my bed. As you can see, we are basically ready to go to sleep. We have the humidifier. We got my book that I'm going to continue reading. We are on chapter 4 called Surrender. For in God's hands we rest untroubled. And at the top of this new chapter it says faith. There is no problem in any situation that faith will not solve. And ain't that true? Like, some problems are so complex and so deep and hurt so bad that the faith that you need to have is like insane amounts of faith. But that is also why you need to have some sort of consistent practice and consistent belief and consistent rewiring your brain when it comes to things like faith or belief in something. And I think for me, like I kind of was saying before, I feel like I am somewhat prepared for this loss because I have spent basically since I was 16 opening my mind up to spirituality, but also self-development, and going through so many cycles of healing journeys and going through so many rock bottoms and building myself back up out of them, and just trials and tribulation, that I feel like I have a very, very solid foundation to be able to ground myself in times when they're really hard. And even if things are hard in my life, but they're not as hard as, like, let's say grieving, it's quite easy for me to get out of ruts or out of like a spiral or out of something because I've continuously done my best to have faith and redirect my mind and do all the practices and things that I've learned kind of over the years when it comes to healing journey. So anyways, I don't really know why I'm saying that, but that's just my thoughts when I open up this book. Anyways, it is like 9-ish. I try and get into bed around 9. That way I get tired within like 30-ish minutes. I'm not somebody who really scrolls on my phone that much. Like, I'll go on my phone, but I don't sit here and have like a whole hour session. So basically when I'm in bed, I'm gonna be reading and then I'll go to sleep very soon. So because I've already worked on this video is very long, so I'm gonna end it tonight, but maybe I'll just like quickly tell you what I'm gonna do this week, which is not much. So tomorrow is probably gonna be another like chiller day in terms of I'm not gonna be recording anything, but I know I'll be getting approvals for some short form content that I basically need to edit and stuff once it's approved, and I know that I'm gonna get that sometime in tomorrow. So I feel like for the most part it'll be a lot of like editing stuff, and then I'm also gonna edit this video. Tomorrow is gonna be even colder than today, so I think what I might do is try and go into the gym again tomorrow, but maybe I'll just do my treadmill walk and maybe some stretching, because that way I can just get back into the gym mode like mindset, but also maybe save myself from like going outside. I don't know, we'll see. I'll try. I could try and just go out for a little less, but it won't kill me if I don't go out. It's not that big of a deal. I ordered all of my plant stuff, by the way. I ordered new soil and I ordered new pots and I got these little stands to like hold up my plant. So I'm gonna try all of that and hopefully it saves that plant. I think it will, because what else would save it other than those things? And then Wednesday, I'm probably going to record a podcast episode because this will be like the last day before I get my period. I might get it on that day, I don't know. But my plan is to record a podcast episode, and I have two in mind. One of them is talking about this idea of how you can't really save everyone, you can't change everyone, because I did a Q&A and a lot of you guys had like, actually they were all different questions, but it was a very similar theme of feeling like hopeless and feeling like you can't change people even if you want to, or like you see people suffering in your life, or you're with people who are not on the same journey as you, or like friends with people who are on the same journey as you, but you still want them in your life, but they're not like on the same journey as you. Or like, yeah, you see people who are just not changing and this, that. And I feel like I have a lot of good advice when it comes to that, because I had to deal with parents in that situation, but also I feel like all my life I've kind of always felt like that. So I feel like I have a pretty good perspective when it comes to releasing control and accepting that you can't change the world, you can't change everyone, you can't save everyone, things like that. And then I also have another idea, which if I don't film it on Wednesday, I'll just do the next episode, probably something to do with this topic of understanding that, you know, when you come into this life, you are born whole, worthy, full of love, just innocent. You know that as a child, even though consciously you don't know that because you're just a baby. But like everyone comes into this world just like pure light and love, essentially. And I personally believe that what happens in our life journey is we grow up, whether it's parents, school systems, where you live, people in your life, all of these circumstances in life, right? As you grow up, things happen to you, or you experience people or situations, and all these people, places, and things, they basically make you forget your worth. They make you forget that you're deserving of more. They make you forget that you are worthy of more, whether that's your parents didn't show up the way that you deserved, or you got heartbroken, or you got hurt, or like all of these like shitty things can happen to you in life. And I think a part of our jobs is to really unlearn the shit that was put on us and remember who we are to a core. But we get so tied up in people serving us half-ass versions of them, or situations, or treatment, and we accept it. We accept it because it's just like what life is. And I think the process of life is like unlearning, like, no, I don't deserve that. No, I don't want that. No, I'm better than that. No, I can ask for more, da da da. We get so caught up with what is being served to us, which is so normal because it's what's in front of us, that we just forget. And sometimes you never remember. There's people who leave this earth not remembering. There's people who just live their life just not knowing, and they settle, or they just don't know their worth, and this, that. It's a whole journey, right? And everyone's story is so unique. But I just think about certain things that were handed to me when it came to the way that my parents did or did not show up for me, and how that taught me to ask for less. Or when it came to my father, although like, yes, there was like decent things that he did as a father. And I'm saying that in a sense of like, I do respect him, and I've had to let a lot go, forgive, and do all that work. But he really taught me to not take up space in life. But that's a problem. That's a very big problem when you go into life, you know, when you're getting into your, like, even teens, but 20s, 30s, when you need to expand, you need to grow as a person because you have those desires. They never go away. They don't go away. You just dim them, or really people dim them, but you kind of like shut them down. But you have this feeling, or like this thing that you need to do. You need to take up space in your life. You need, and you know that you deserve more. You need to ask for more. You just need to do more in your life, but you have all these blocks. You block yourself because you've been taught, no, you can't do that, or no, you're not worthy of it, and things like that. And I think that, like, for instance, like parents, like there's things that my dad taught me that just was not helpful. And there was things that my mom didn't show up for, like, do for me, although she was amazing in other aspects, and like love her to death and always will. I learned to kind of like be okay with the bare minimum, and that translated to other things in my life. But I know deep down, the more that I grow up and the more that I do this work, like, I never deserved that. And she even admitted that. And like my dad would admit that. And you know what I mean? And so I just feel like we need to remember that we are being blinded sometimes of what we actually deserve. And what is the things that have been given to you that have made you forget? And like, how do we work on remembering? Because at the core of who you are is not somebody who walks around this earth feeling low self-worth, feeling not deserving, or believing that you're just not allowed to ask for more or to have more in your life. Like, that's just personally for me, I just don't believe that we're meant to really have that life. It's just kind of what's happened or what's been given to us. But also I was thinking how we get in our own ways though sometimes when we start to realize this stuff, because this is what happens. We are actually given a lot of opportunity to experience what we didn't experience, right? So like there are people who want to love us. There are people who want to show up for us. There are people who say we're deserving and this, that, but it doesn't feel natural to us. It doesn't feel safe to us, because what feels safe to us is for people to treat us like shit, for people to give us the bare minimum, for people to not show up. That's what feels normal to us, even though we know when we start learning about things, okay, that's not actually what I want. It feels normal. So when people, places, or things actually start to work out, we'll second guess it, we'll push it away, this, that, and we'll start to gaslight ourselves and be like, oh, these people are just not for me. Like, I don't like these people, or this person's annoying, or like this guy is not for me, or this, that. But it's like, hold on though. Is that really true? Or are you just pushing away good things that are coming to you, that the universe, God, whatever, wants to help you see because you're not used to it? So it's like, you got to be really aware of that. And I think that that's what I've been aware of probably in my later 20s, is seeing how I will push people, places, and things away, but then I'll be crying about the fact that, oh, I don't have this or that. Like, you have to see what's in front of you right now. And this kind of brings it back to gratitude and what I learned in my early 20s about wanting my dream life and getting out of this shitty circumstance that I was in, but understanding that I needed to be grateful for the things that I had now, even though they weren't 100% the full-fledged manifestation. Like, can my body move today? Do I have a car to get myself to work, even if it's a crappy car? And I think about that in the same sense of like, okay, like you want a dream relationship, but can you just look at what love you do have around you right now? Like, yeah, maybe you're single or maybe you don't have a lot of friends, but do you have a friend? Do you have one friend? Do you have half a friend that maybe they're not the most perfect friend and they're not going to show up the best way, but they try their best? And if you look at them with a lens of love, you can see that they're doing their best. And this does not mean you have to always accept the bare minimum for people. Obviously, we're not talking about like shitty treatment, but it's like there is a lot of abundance. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of things right now in front of your face, but you kind of like want to convince yourself or block that away. And partly we do that because it's actually just doesn't feel right to us, because we're so used to having nothing or being used to the crappy things. But it's like, if you want more for your life, you want a better life, you want better experiences, you need to start getting used to accepting the good right now. So anyways, I mean, I basically just did the podcast episode right there now, didn't I? But that's kind of another topic that I want to talk about. Let me know if you want either episode, if that resonates, or any other. Obviously, that's on my second channel, the Glow Up Secrets podcast. And you can also let me know what vlogs and stuff that you want over here. I mean, I basically just vlog whatever I'm getting up to. Anyways, Wednesday, gonna record, and there's also a few pieces of content that I'm gonna need to record, which will be the Wednesday, so it's just gonna be filming day. And then I'm supposed to see my friend on Wednesday night for paint night or something. I don't know. I think she's just gonna come over and we're gonna watch the finale of Salt Lake City reunion. Or no, it's not a reunion. I think it's the last episode. And maybe we'll paint or do something. Thursday, I plan to chill because I'll be on my period. Friday, I plan to chill because I'll be on my period, so I won't really be doing anything other than just editing. And then Saturday, I don't have any plans. And Sunday, I'm gonna meet my friend, which I don't know if I'm gonna vlog or not. I guess it just depends on how I'm feeling, but I'm gonna meet my friend for coffee. We've been doing like Sunday morning or even afternoon coffee or brunch or something, because we both kind of decided like the Sunday scaries are getting a little bit too scary and a little bit too depressing, and like we need to do something. So I feel like doing something and like having a plan with a friend that actually like uplifts your mood and you want to see is very helpful for me. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do something on Sunday. And then Joy, she was gone for so many months. She's my best friend. and she just got back to Toronto, so we'll probably do like a Sunday night dinner, which is honestly fine. Like, I'm honestly good to just fill up my Sundays with seeing friends because I really haven't been, and now that I can, I might as well. So that's really the vibe. And then next week we're off the period. Maybe I'll do another vlog, get back into the gym more, so I'll definitely vlog. Anyways, I hope this video helped in some way, whether that just like motivated or inspired you to get up and build your life back up. Things take time, okay? So if you're in a current period of your life where you're building yourself back up, lots of grace, lots of love, baby steps, make it easy, because that's how it's gonna be sustainable. Me going to the gym today, I have no resistance to go do the same thing because it was easy and it was chill, and then I basically end up wanting to do more. So anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing day or night or evening or whatever. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. That way all my videos will come up on your subscription. And if you could please like this video, that would also be really nice, because then the algorithm will not only push more videos of mine to you, but also to other people. But also you'll give the algorithm the idea that you want to see more similar videos like this, so from other creators. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.